Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Alex with Freedom Mowers, and if you're new to the channel, welcome here. And if you guys have been checking out my other videos, I appreciate it, and thank you guys for checking them out. Today we are going to be working on a riding mower, so I'll go ahead and jump to it and show you guys what we got here. This is actually a freebie that I got, and let's see, it is a 14.5 42 MTD yard machine. It was kind of buried in somebody's backyard, and I pulled this one out. So far I did check over the motor, and it does have compression. It looked like somebody had repainted the cowling on here, and I wasn't sure if maybe somebody ended up putting just putting the sticker back from the original motor, or if this is the original. Let's see, tires aren't holding air, at least the back two are not. I aired them up to get it over here. The pulleys feel free on the deck, and I didn't hear any growling or noise, so I think the deck pulleys are good. Let's see, I mean, overall it's complete. It's just filthy. There's you know, algae and mildew growing on it, and the first thing I did notice is that they had these two bolts on this side of the motor, and the motor was kind of rocking, so I have some of these engine mounting bolts that I'm gonna go ahead and put on first before I try to start even turning it over. That way the motor's at least stable and we don't crack any mounts. Let's see, I mean, it's pretty weathered. Battery in it is from October 2019, so can only assume a couple years ago it was running. Must have had an oil leak around the dipstick too, because it is just like totally caked in oil and mud. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the couple bolts on to get the engine totally mounted and stabilized, and then I'll check the battery, probably put a jumper pack on it, and see if we can get it to at least turn over. If it does, we'll see if we can throw a little gas down in there and see if we can get it to fire over, and we'll kind of take it from there. So I'll go ahead and get the mounting bolts on, and we'll move forward. All right, well, I got the engine secured. Only one of the bolts I had went through. The other side was good. Both of those were tight. One of those self-tappers went through, and then the other side was actually stripped, so I put a bolt with a nylon nut on there so it won't back out. Go ahead and test this battery. It's got 8.1 volts, so I'll probably just take that out and put it on the trickle charger and see if that battery will take a charge. But we'll go ahead and just put the jump pack on the cables and see if that might do it. These terminals look pretty well abused. Let's see. All right, so with it, let me see here, make sure you guys can see everything. All right, so I got it hooked up. We are in park, so I believe the seat safety switch shouldn't matter. Just can't really put the jumper pack on it like that. PTO is disengaged. The parking brake is on. Should be it. Let's see if it'll start. And we got nothing. Let's see. Make sure the parking brake's all the way down. Alright. I believe the way that this safety switch works on here, it just touches those two together, so I'll just use some pliers to see if I can't just touch these two together. See if it's just the seat safety. Nope. Alright, well, let's see if we have let's see if we got 12 volts to the key switch. If you guys can see that. I believe that this is supposed to be the power wire to it. So let's ground this to the frame. In a good spot for it. Actually, let me see if I can ground to the actual battery. In the battery terminal. Stick this in there first. Just make sure my connections are good here. I believe that's supposed to be the 12 volt to the key switch. Let's see if we're getting any voltage to anything on this key. Getting like 0.4 on that. There we go. So we got 12 volts right here. Trying to see on the back of the ignition if I can see what the what it says. Maybe we'll just go ahead and jump to the starter and just see if the starter's gonna work for us, and then I can start looking into the wiring a little bit more. Just don't know if it's a safety switch or maybe it's the solenoid. I think to get to our solenoid on this one, you gotta go. I think it's underneath of the dash. So let's just put power to the starter and see if the starter turns over. You guys can see here. This one's kind of tight, so put the positive on there first. All right. Find us a good ground, maybe. Starter works. Let's take the cover off this carb and see if maybe with a little gas in there if it'll fire off. Alright. Crud down in there I don't really want going in the intake. Alright, let's put a little fire in the hole here. See what happens. We are at low throttle. Let's just try it there and see. Well, the fire off on gas, so let's see about honestly, let's just try to put a little gas in the tank, see if it'll go. Make sure the needle's not stuck in there, and if it is, we'll go ahead and take the carb off and start. We'll take the carb off and start cleaning, and then we'll start working on getting into the wiring on here, see what's going on with that. So let me put a splash of gas in here, and we'll see if it'll go on its own carburetor. Just trying to see if I could get it to go one more time, and then probably take that carb off. Alright, well, I think we're just going to go ahead and take the carb off. I'm going to have to take this side plate off, and we'll pull the carb on it and take a look, see if we can get that cleaned up, and go from there. Alright, I'll show y'all where I'm at here. I was looking at the side cover, and the way they have this front, this thing is like riveted, and the front's had a lot of repairs on it, and I really don't feel like putting a bunch of stress on that and taking the whole front end off right now if I don't have to. So I just went ahead. I was able to reach in here, and I got the 2 7/16 nuts off from the back of the little plastic intake air filter cover, and then there was one 5/16 that actually holds the throttle, or the the choke cable in place, and then just need like a 5/16 I believe deep well to get the studs out, and we'll go ahead and loosen up the fuel line and kind of tuck it up here so it's not leaking, and then we should just be able to pull the carb right off and take the linkages off. So let me get a pair of pliers. Go ahead and loosen up this hose clamp. this gas line is like super stiff. Until it's been on there for a long time. I may just end up cutting the fuel line right there because I've got some new line for it, and eventually I'd like to put a fuel shutoff valve in there, so I'll just go ahead and cut that for now, and then I'll just get it off the carburetor when we get it out. Set that over here. As long as it's above the tank, it's not going to leak on you. So let's take these two studs out. I was able to get that choke freed up a little bit when I got it the linkage loose off from the that plastic mount. So I'll probably just spray that down, and our choke cable should work for this too. And there is a anti-backfire valve on here. Doesn't want to come out. Holy moly, never had one of these that hard. There we go. Alright, so choke, take that one out. Normally these have the auto choke feature on these, like when you give it full throttle, it'll actually push the choke for you, but this one just has the manual attached to it. So we'll get that out. Just trying to see which way this linkage is bent on this one. Literally just getting hooked to everything along the way. That's for our choke. Oh man, I can smell the varnish gas in here. But yeah, this is I think this is the Walbro. Yeah, it is. I like the Walbros a lot better than the Nicky carbs on these motors. So we'll go ahead and we'll get this in on the tray and start breaking this down, see if we can't get it cleaned up. Alright, so these carburetors that have the anti-backfire valve, basically what it is when it is energized, it has a little plunger that draws down, and when it's de-energized, like when you turn the key off, the plunger retracts, it goes back up, and it turns the fuel off to the bowl. And a lot of times they just get stuck, and either basically your mower won't start, and it ends up that's being the problem. I don't really like them. This one we'll have to keep on here because it's basically the nut that's going to hold your bowl on, but you can take the tip off from it and then just run an inline fuel shut off for your carburetor. And I've actually got this old 1/2 inch, which is hopefully what size it is, should be, yeah. And they're very narrow between the two, so I actually had to file this 1/2 inch wrench down. I did this one a couple years ago, so it's seen a thing or two. It's pretty bent up. Hopefully it'll even get this one off. But we'll see if we can start by getting that off from there. I think it's just gonna slip. Ugh, man, the gas smells awful in there. Let me see if I have another 1/2 inch or something that I can get on here and take this bowl nut off from here, and then we'll start looking into this. Alright, well, I didn't have another 1/2 inch, but what I did have is a little cheaply built 13 millimeter, and it's thin enough to get in between here, so I already cracked it loose just to make sure it was going to fit on there, so you guys will see just what I see. Golly. I can tell you, if you had a smell-o-vision, you'd know how old this gas is. Ooh, good gravy. It's chunky. Oh man, that's straight rotten in there. If this plunger still works, yeah, see, that thing's super stiff. Starting to loosen up hitting it. I normally just break these tips off and I'll put it back in, and then put an inline fuel shut off, so when you get done with the tractor or the mower, you just turn it off at the end of the mowing day. Yeah, this thing is bad. Golly, it smells. I haven't smelled bad gas like that in a while. Pretty sure this needle's stuck too. Doesn't surprise me with how frozen up that was, how much gunk was in there. Alright, well, I did a bit of wiggling and it did come out, surprisingly. I've had some before that were just so frozen in there, you'll end up just replacing the carburetor, but this thing's in pretty rough shape. I'm gonna do my best to clean all this up. I highly doubt this main jet's gonna come out. I'll try it, but if it starts to strip, I'm just gonna leave it alone, try to clean this out. See if I can't start getting this cleaned out where the needle goes through for the gas inlet. We'll take out the air fuel screw, and we'll just start shooting through the jets to get this cleaned up. So I'll go ahead and start spraying this down, show you guys. Gotta make sure this is clean, because this is actually your pickup right here for your main jet to draw it up. So we'll get this all sprayed out, and I'll show you guys where I'm at on this. Alright, well, that took y'all about 1 second of watching, and that took me about 30 minutes of trying to clean this thing out. So I ended up having to go through where the needle seats and take some rubbing alcohol on a Q-tip and on a drill and just clean this thing out thoroughly. Had to clean the needle, the whole thing. It was just like gummy. The gas was green and gummy, and I sprayed through all the ports the best I can. I don't have too high hopes of this working that well, so probably just order a new carburetor for this if it doesn't work. So normally I'll just kind of take it and I'll blow through the where the gas comes through and see if the needle is holding. So it seems like it is, so hopefully that'll seal up for us and not be flooding everything out. I'm just hoping I was able to clean out enough in the main jet area. Looks like there's still some crud here. This thing was an absolute mess. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna clean up the bowl on here a little bit. I did clean up the body on the carburetor quite a bit and cleaned all the ports the best I could. So I'm gonna finish putting the bowl on here. We'll go ahead and get this mounted up, and I'll show you guys hooking the gas back up and seeing if we can get this mower to crank up and run on its own fuel. All right, well, I got the carb put back on here. It did start leaking a little bit out of the needle at first. I gave it a little tap, and it seems like it's sealed off, so hopefully it should be working properly. Let's see, just went in the reverse order of how I put it on there, or when I took it off, and I just have the plastic cover off right now that mounts up the air filter just to test everything out. So I don't have a way to use the choke, but let's just see if it'll go. Make sure I still got any gas in here. Just put a little splash in earlier. Yeah, we should be good. At least to run it for a minute. Just gonna see if I can manually choke it here. Don't think we're getting. It might have kind of flooded it earlier, so. I don't know. Let me try to see if I can add a little more fuel and then see if I can hand choke it. Yeah, kind of what I thought with that carburetor. I couldn't really get in there and can't get that main jet cleaned out like I wanted to, and I don't know if the idle circuit in there is going to clean up either. But I will, I might mess with the air fuel screw and see if I can add a little bit more fuel into it. I just went with the settings that it already had, and motor sounds healthy, so let's see. I guess I'll try to tinker with it for another minute or so and see if I can get it running a little bit better. And we may end up just kind of leaving off here on this video, at least to get it up and running and see how it sounds. And then we'll start diving a little bit more into the electrical and see if I can't get a carb ordered for this thing and go from there. So I'll mess with this a little bit more, see if I can get it running a little bit better, and then we'll probably close up this video. All right, y'all. Well, I tried. I actually did get it to run a little bit better, but it had to be on choke the whole time. And I know it's just that carb. That thing was kind of too far gone. I'm sure I could take it back apart and try to clean it again, but I don't think it's ever gonna be fully functional. So it's honestly, you can buy these carburetors now for like $15 to $20 on Amazon. So probably go that route. And in the meantime, in the next series on this tractor, we'll probably start going through the wiring and some of the other things going on with it, try to get it cleaned up and just assess it a little bit more. But at least today I got it up and running, and the motor does sound healthy, so it's a good start. And I appreciate you guys checking out the channel, and make sure if you do like this content and you guys want to see more of this, to hit that subscribe below and that drop down bell notification. That way you guys see anytime I have an upload. And you know, if you guys like the video, hit that like and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys and see what your thoughts are and what you want to see. So I appreciate it. I'll catch y'all in the next one.